from Shawnee, Kansas. It kind of sounds like I ought to operate a pizza parlor, but actually I am a Kansas City Keller Williams real estate agent. And I just got back from that family reunion down in New Orleans. Oh my, there sure was a whole lot of Keller Williams clan down there, about 8,000 I'd say. And I went to this first session. That guy was in there, I call him that Gary Keller Feller. And he was just talking about numbers. He sure must have a whole army of number crunchers out there, because he sure had a whole lot of numbers, and he explained them all. He talked about the houses that sold and the houses that didn't sell, and how much money it took to buy them houses, and how many real estate agents were out there chasing them folks, wanting them to buy them houses. Then he said something real profound. He said, these numbers will determine how many people will be successful, but not who. Oh my goodness, it kind of gave me goosebumps just thinking about it. Can you imagine that Gary Keller Feller telling all of them agents to quit whining and get to work and sell some houses and make some money? Well, you know, that Gary Keller Feller, he sure does like his numbers. There's somebody else that likes numbers. That's that Mark Willis guy. That Mark Willis, he said Keller Williams agents are multiplying faster than rabbits. Oh, that's going to get me in trouble. That's not exactly what he said. What he said was that in 1999, there were 5,700 Keller Williams agents, and now there's 77,000 in February of 2010. Now, that's a compound growth rate of 29%. Oh my goodness, if my 401k had seen anything close to that, I would just be retiring. But you know what, that Mark Willis and that Gary Keller Feller, they're not happy with those numbers. Nothing wrong with them, they're just not big enough. Because these guys think big, really big. And I can see it all now. Keller Williams Intergalactic Real Estate. Why, you know, we put a man on the moon way back in 1969, and we still don't have no red signs up there. So I thought I'd mosey into some of those classes and find out just how they sold all that real estate and attracted all them real estate agents. So I went into this one class, and it was all about a red rubber ball, and how a little red rubber ball changed this man's life. His name was Kevin Carroll, and it really wasn't about a red rubber ball. What it was about was figuring out what makes you want to get up in the morning and go to work. That's what that Gary Keller Feller calls a big why. Well, Kevin Carroll said that every morning his grandpa would ask him and his brothers, how's your want-to, boys? And they would answer, my want-to's fine, grandfather. And grandpa wasn't educated in the sense of going to college, but he was real smart, and he said to those boys, that's good, boys, because you can't do nothing with a broke want-to. You know what, that Gary Keller Feller, he figures he's in the business of helping his agents have the tools to fix their broke want-tos. He's even got a whole class on it. They call it Quantum Leap. But if you take away all them fancy airs, it's all about want-tos and how-tos. And everything at that Keller Williams University that they teach and have there is all about want-tos and how-tos. And they went and they hired this little Miss Fireball, Miss Diana Kokoska, and she wrote this course called Bold. And when I walked into that Bold class, there was a cheering and a jumping, and you'd have thought they just won the Super Bowl in New Orleans or something. But anyway, that Miss Diana was up there just leading them cheers, and there was a monkey up there. They kept calling him that drunk monkey. Now, I kept trying to figure out where in the world that monkey got drunk down there at family reunion. I guess he must have just sneaked away at Bourbon Street. And I'll tell you one thing, Miss Mo Anderson would not be happy with that monkey if she found out he'd been down on Bourbon Street carrying on and getting drunk. Well, anyway, it turns out that that drunk monkey's nothing but those little voices inside your head that says you can't do that, you're too old for that, you're too young for that, you don't deserve it, and it's never going to happen. That drunk monkey's all about limits. And that Gary Keller Feller and Miss Diana, they don't believe in those limits. So they teach folks how to make their drunk monkey shut up. You know, that Gary Keller Feller, he said that he even had his own drunk monkey once. When he was a young feller, he took a test, and that test said, you'll never be successful at sales. Well, you know what? He reached right down into his gumption and did it anyway. Now, that Gary Keller Feller, he is a gentleman, and Miss Mo would bring him right back in line if he ever strayed. But I just think it might be kind of fun if he met up with that guy. Can you just see him? Hi, I'm Gary Keller. This is my company. This is my network. 77,000 strong today. Can you imagine? Verizon thinks they got a lock on that network thing, but I think they got the idea from that Gary Keller feller. You reckon that tester guy has 77,000 other folks helping him be successful? Or do you suppose he might still be giving out tests and predicting failure? Well, anyway, let me tell you what else that Miss Diana did. She's so perky, and she's just a cheerleader and a dad-burn smart person, and she studied how our brain works. You know, my daddy was a smart man, and he was always teaching me that choices have consequences. And choices and prices, that's what my brother calls it. Life's full of choices, and each choice has a price. And that's a really good thing to teach your kids. But here's where it got me into trouble. That Gary Keller feller, he has a class, or he has this thing that he calls lead generation. Just a fancy name for going out and talking to people and asking them if they know anybody that might want to buy or sell a house. Anyway, lead generation, that isn't something that comes real natural. So I made me a sign. I thought I would outsmart my brain. And my sign said, choose lead generation or choose poverty. And I knew I didn't want no more poverty. So, my goodness sakes, that Miss Diana in that bold class, brain training is what I call it. Miss Diana taught me that my brain wasn't near as smart as I thought it was. I've had this brain all these years, and she's taught me that sometimes it works for me and sometimes it works against me. She taught me that when I wrote that choose lead generation or choose poverty, my little brain was too dumb to see that little word or, and it just went out and it saw that flash of neon sign, like a neon sign saying choose poverty, choose poverty, choose poverty. And oh my goodness, poverty is everywhere, so it's real easy to choose poverty. You think I'd dress like this if I was really rich? Well, anyway, I went back home and I changed my sign, and now my sign says choose lead generation to choose prosperity. And that's what that Gary Keller feller would call an aha. Oh, that Gary Keller feller, he sure likes smart people because he keeps a lot of them hanging around. Oh, he likes rich folks too. You can tell that because he grows them. Guess he figures it's more fun to grow them than to go out and meet them. Anyway, he's got a goal of making his agents rich. Not just rich, but dad-bird rich. He's got them things he calls models and systems so folks can grow their business to whatever size they want. And he stays up late at night just thinking about how to make his agents have richer lives. He wants to have a whole company of millionaires. Oh my goodness, I can't think how many people I've worked for in the past that wanted me to be a millionaire. Let's see, there was, I believe I'd have at least 3 fingers left over. So this Gary Keller feller, he likes the idea of hanging out with rich folks and growing them agents into rich agents. So he went and he hired Miss Mary Tennant. Miss Mary Tennant, she's all about abundance and blessing folks and having plenty of money to share with folks less fortunate. So they got this fund that they call the Keller Williams Cares Fund. So they can go out and have a place where other Keller Williams agents can help other agents who really need a helping hand. Guess they just figure it's really cool to be able to go around and bless folks. And the more money you got to bless folks with, the more blessing you can be. Well, to help with all that abundance and all that blessing, that Gary Keller feller and his folks, they got this thing that I call show up money, because it just shows up in your bank account on the 21st of the month. You get it because you plant a profit share tree. Now here's another place where my smart daddy was wrong, because he used to tell me all the time, girl, money don't grow on trees. But that Gary Keller feller, he's figured out a way to make money grow on trees. And Miss Althea Osborne, she's figured out how to fertilize her profit share tree with Miracle-Gro, because that woman's got a whole stinking huge profit share forest. But the thing about that Gary Keller feller's company is that folks like her will tell folks like me how to make my profit share tree grow just as big as hers. Ain't that amazing? Well, you know there's a lot more to that Gary Keller feller's company than I could tell you all about. And I sure am excited about going to family reunion in Anaheim next year. But if you want to know more, you just go ahead and you email me right now at leadeo@kw.com. That's LEADEO@kw.com.